To be clear, the flying public expects and deserves efficient, safe, secure, reliable air transit. The Transportation Security Administration finds itself at the center of the federal government's effort to ensure secure passage of passenger and cargo. As you know, Mr. Administrator, the importance of this role can hardly be understated. The agency is at a critical point in its short history. TSA is still implementing reforms after covert testing last year revealed serious gaps in security screening. Now, long lines and record wait times at airport checkpoints are having spillover effects throughout our entire aviation system. Passengers are understandably anxious as they hear stories about fellow passengers who, despite their best efforts, missed flights. Asking passengers to arrive 3 hours before a domestic departure is unacceptable. In addition to the stress on passengers to wear the right clothes, decide whether to check a bag, pay exorbitant baggage fees, avoid packing prohibited items, and make tight connections, the stress on the flying public is felt most severely by airline and airport personnel. Unfortunately, it's the men and women who are the face of TSA who get blamed, the transportation security officers. Travel volume substantially increased this year, yet TSA has failed to keep pace with this growth. As a result, there's an insufficient number of transportation security officers in our nation's airport. The current situation where we have too few screeners and far more passengers did not occur without warning. In fiscal year 2011, there were approximately 45,000 TSOs screening 642 million passengers. In FY 2016, TSA had 3,000 fewer TSOs screening roughly 740 million anticipated passengers, almost 100 million more passengers and 3,000 fewer screeners. In FY 2017 budget, TSA requested funding to hire an additional 320 TSOs. To those of us who are familiar with travel volume trends, this did not seem like enough. More recently, TSA, as the chairman indicated, has announced its plan to onboard 768 TSOs by June 15. Increasing staff and resources is certainly a good thing, but only if the proper vetting and training occur before more TSOs are added. Administrator Neffinger, I want to know if TSA has the money necessary to achieve its mission. At Secretary Johnson's request, Congress recently reprogrammed $34 million in TSA accounts to pay for overtime and other costs associated with responding to the wait time crisis. While these funds will surely aid TSA in addressing staffing shortages in the short term, moving money around is not a substitute for infusing new money into an operation. TSA should have access to all of the aviation security fees collected by the flying public to bolster security. Yet the passage of the Budget Act of 2013, TSA is required to divert $13 billion collected in security fees toward the deficit reduction for the next 10 years. This year alone, $1.25 billion has been diverted. Presently, I'm working with Representative Peter DeFazio, the ranking member on the Transportation Committee, in his efforts to ensure that TSA can retain the fees it collects and put them back into our aviation system. In the absence of more money, new resources is absolutely important. Congress and TSA must resist Band-Aid fixes to complicated and security challenges. Patching and plugging holes is not the answer. Moreover, Dismantling TSA is not the answer. Many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle are calling for a return to the pre-9/11 privatization model. Mr. Chairman, as you've indicated also, after the downed Egyptian airliner, which is still under investigation, this would not be the way to go. As one prominent airport commissioner recently acknowledged, the benefits of privatization are very marginal, and there's a huge cost in time associated with the transition. We need to look for long-term solution. One solution, as I've indicated and have written a letter to you, Mr. Administrator, is to assign the nearly 2,500 TSOs designated as behavior detection officers to checkpoint screening operation. As you know, this SPOT program has been subject to a GAO review, and it's questionable about its success. But we've spent $1 billion on this program, and we could put that money to good use. So I look forward, Mr. Neffinger, look around the committee room here. All our members use the airports to come to work every week, and I'm sure, like they are anxiously awaiting your testimony. I yield back.
I thank the